Hello there, welcome back to this YouTube channel. How you all doing? Welcome to another tutorial. It's been a while. Hope you are doing great. So in today's video, we're going to be creating this style on the screen, and I'm going to be drafting on my pattern, after which I'll transfer it to my fabric. So if you are new here, you are welcome. Please like and subscribe. You're already part of the family. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for only coming back to watch these videos. Always love them for us. Comment, tell us what you think about the video so that we know the areas to work on. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are always the best. So let's get down to it. So I'll begin by ruling a straight line here. This will serve as my guideline, right? So on this guideline now, I'm going to measure my neck. So the neck width I'm using for this tutorial, the neck width I'm using for this person is 3.25. So I'll mark it here. And the neck depth is 3.5. I'll also mark it here. So I'm going to connect this line. Then from this neck, then I'm going to go ahead to mark the shoulder. So the shoulder measurement divided by 2 is 8.25. That includes the sleeve seam allowance, right? Hope that is clear. So that 8.25, I'm going to come down to have my armhole depth, right? So this is my armhole line. Then I'll cross it this way. This will become my chest, right? This will become my chest line. So I will be coming down 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I'll go up ½ inch for my shoulder seam allowance. I'll also go up ½ inch from this neck width, and I'll connect the line. So that's it there. So now I'm going to be coming down for the vertical measurement. Shoulder to bust point is 11.75, which is here. Then to under bust is 16, which is here. Then to the half length is 18, plus ½ inch to join it back. Then I'll also be adding 1 inch that will cut off later on. Hope that is clear. So I'll make this into a straight line. I'll mark it on the chest line. So our bust circumference divided by 4 is 11, which is what we have here. Then I'll come to the waist. Our waist circumference divided by 4 is 10.1. I'll mark it here. So then I'll be marking our nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus ½ inch. So our nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus ½ inch is 4.8. So I'll mark it here. I'll also mark it on the bust line. Then I'll make this into a straight line this way. Then on my waist, I'm going to be taking ½ inch on both sides. So this is no more of bustier part, right? So it's not really, I'm not going to shaping the bust here. So I just taking my ½ inch, the regular dart, then I'll connect it to the bust. So you can come down from the bust 0.75, then you connect it this way, connect it this way. So this is my dart leg. Now coming to the armhole, I will divide what is remaining here by 2 and mark the midpoint, which is here. Then I will come down 1 inch. I'll come down 0.75, which is here. Then I'll also go up from here 0.75, which is there. Then I'll be using my straight ruler to connect this to meet the midpoint. So You can also come in like this 0.75. Then from this midpoint, from this point I'll be coming down 0.75 again. Then I'll connect this straight up this way. Then above this line I'll be marking 1 inch. Then I'll reconnect my armhole to the 1 inch and connect this part up this way. Hope that is clear. So you just smooth any part that is, just make all the parts to be smooth. So now that's it. So now remember that we've had half inch on this part, then half inch will be on this part, so that's 1 inch. So I will add it to this. That's to join these two panels back, right? Then I'll add my seam allowance of 2 inches. Then coming to the waist, this is where our waist divided by 4 is. Then we'll also join these two back with half inch on the side, so that's 1 inch. Then plus my 2 inches seam allowance. Then remember we're going to cut off that 1 inch from here, so I'll replace it here. You don't need to worry about this one here, it's just to tighten the bust area. So now that's it. So the front panel will be longer than the back panel. So now I'm going to remove it from this side here. So from this point here I'm going to go up 1.5 inches, connect it to my dart leg. So this front panel now is ready. Let's move to the back panel. I'm also going to mark my guideline here of half inch. So that's it. Then I'll mark the neck width. Then I'll mark for my zip allowance 1 inch. 1 inch for my zip allowance. Then I'm going to be removing the zip budgie at the back, right? So I'll remove 0.75 from here and connect it straight up. Then I'll mark my neck width. Remember it's 3.25. I'll mark it here. I'll mark my shoulder divided by 4, 8.25. Remember we're starting from this point because this is the zip seam allowance. Mark it here. I'm also going to mark it down to have our armhole length, right? Mark it here. Then we'll come down 1 inch for the slope, go up half inch for shoulder seam allowance. Then I'll connect these lines. The neck depth for the back is going to be 1 inch. And connect my lines. Then I'll be marking the bust point, which is 11.75. The waist, remember for the front we use 18 inches plus half inch to join it back, which is 18.5, plus 1 inch to cut off later on, which is 19.5. So now we're going to minus 1.5 inches from the back because the back panel will be shorter than the front panel with 1.5, so which give us 18 inches. So this is it now. So I'll make this into a straight line. Now I'll be marking my nipple to nipple divided by 4. We're not going to cut the dart off at the back, so just the nipple to nipple divided by 4. I'll mark it here, then I'll mark half inch on both sides. Then I'll connect it straight up. I connect it to the chest, wherever you want your dart to stop. So I'm connecting it to the chest. So that's it. So now we're marking my bust circumference divided by 4. We'll mark it here, starting from this red line, from the zip seam allowance, right? So remember it is 11 inches. We'll mark it here. Then we'll add our size seam allowance. We're not cutting this dart up, so we don't need to add to join back. Then coming to the waist, my waist circumference divided by 4. I'll also mark it here. Remember it is 10.1, right? So we'll mark it here. Then we took 1 inch for that here. We'll also mark it here. Then 2 inches for sizing, which is here. You make it to a straight line. Then on my armhole, I'm going to mark the midpoint of my armhole, come down 1/2 inch, come in 1/2 inch, then have my curve ruler. So that's it. So these patterns are ready. So this is for the back and this is for the front. So now we'll be cutting this out, then cut it on our fabric. So here is the cut lace I'm going to use. This is it here. I've already placed this is for the front, and I fold it. This is the folded part, so I place it on top this way. So I'll be cutting my pattern out. And I'm going to sew it with 1/2 inch on this part. I also place this side to this way, and I'll sew it with 1/2 inch too on this part. So that's what I'll do to the front. So I'll go back to my sewing machine. I'll sew my dart here, right? Then I'll join the armhole to the armhole for the front and back. I'll just place the right side face each other and sew them with my 1/2 inch seam allowance for the armhole. Then I'll come back to show you. Here is it now. I've already sewn them together. So I've sewn the dart. This is for the front. I've sewn the dart like this, and I've ironed it open, right? So this is what we have now. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring my velvet bias, right? This is 9 inch. This is 9 yards that I bought here. So hopefully it's enough for what we are sewing. So I'll place this on the front. Remember we notched the center front. So I'll place it on it like this, and I'm going to sew it on both sides. I'll sew it on both sides. So that's it for the front. And for the back, just as I've said, I've sewn my darts here on both sides. So this is it. I've already sew the darts on both sides, right? So after which I'll place them right side face each other this way. So this is the zipper allowance side. So I'll place them. This is the right side facing up. I also place this front too, right side facing up, and I'll place them to sew the shoulders. So I'll hold the shoulders this way. I'll sew with my half face seam allowance on both sides, right? So I'll sew it. After which I'll use bias. I'll use my white bias to sew the neck and turn it. So I will do that now, then come back to show you. So here is it now. I've already sew it now. So this is it. So the next thing to do now, I'm going to measure this armhole round to cut my sleeve. So I'll place my tape through this way, starting from this end. I'll measure it round like this to this front armhole, measure it round. So what I have is 26. So for the both side. So now I'll be drafting my sleeve on this pattern. So the 26 that we got now, we'll divide it by 2. So which give me 13. And I'll minus 1 from it, which is 12. So I'll measure what I have as the width here. So I'll just make use of what I have here. This is 11.6. So I'll make use of it. Then the length. So my sleeve length is going to be 22. So remember the flare part and the upper part, the main sleeve. So that means to divide it by 2, which will give us 11. Then the upper part, this is the upper part I'm cutting. I need half inch to join it at the upper part. I need half inch to join it to the down part. That's plus 1, which is 12. So that's what I'm going to do here. So from this edge here, I'll measure down the 12 inches, which is here. I'll be using 5 inches for the cap height. Sleeve opening. So my sleeve opening is 13. So divided by 2, that's 6.5. Mark it here. Then I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance. So just confirm that this is 13 inches. So you see, so this is 13.5, which is okay. So I will just make use of that. So now roll it this way. So this is my sleeve now. Cut it out. So cut on. So guys, I've already attached the sleeve to the bodice now. So this is what we have. This is the sleeve. So this is the basic sleeve that we cut earlier, and this is the flare that I later cut. So I cut it on scarf cut, right? Or some people call it scarf cut, some people call it folding in bias. So that's the how I cut the sleeve. So let me just demonstrate it for you. So I just fold my fabric like this, right? Then use the opening at this point to measure the opening here, then add half inch or 1 inch, just something to lap it, like half inch just to lap it. So that's what I added. So I just measure the opening and plus half inch seam allowance, then I measure the length of my flare. So and then I cut it out. So that's what I did here, and I use bias to turn the opening parts, then turn the down parts with bias, then and now attach it to the basic sleeve, which this one. Then I just place this velvet bias on top, right? Then stitch it all around. Then I leave about 13 inches for the to tie it, right? So I did it for the both side, then attach my sleeve, right? So this is it now. So this is the front part, and this is sleeve, and this is the back part. So the back part is where the zip is going to enter, right? So this is what we have now. So the next thing to do now, so remember that the style we are making is into 4 parts, right? So the upper part, which is what we have done. So what you are going to do now is that you are going to measure from this beginning of this back part seam allowance. You are going to measure it all through, right? Measure it all through to this side. So what you have is what we are going to use to cut the flare. So my own, I have 44, so that's what I'm going to use to cut my flare. So the 43 that we have, I'm just going to take my fabric now, then fold it this way. It's not going to be enough to fold here, so I'm just going to demonstrate how I'm going to do it for you. Then I'll go over to fold it on my fabric and cut it out, then come to show you. So I will fold my fabric this way. You can see the way I'm folding it in a triangle form this way. Then remember that this is one part, this is second part. That means the 44, we have to divide it by 2. So we have to divide the 44 by 2, so that which will give us 22. So I will fold it this way, then I'll measure it this way. I'll try to get where I can get that 22 this way, right? So I will measure it from here like this, which will be giving me, I'll make sure that I will have my 22. Then I will now measure the length of. So guys, I could not continue the video because of the noise on the background, but this is how I've folded my fabric, and I'm going to cut it out. And here is the flare, guys. I've already cut it, and this is the length that I want. So I'll be cutting the third layer in a straight fold, right? So I'll just divide what I have at the bottom part by 2.5, and this is the second layer. So because my fabric was not enough, I'm just going to use just 3 layers. So this is it now. So I made a gathers on the bottom part, then I place it on the flare, then sew it. All right guys, so I've already joined the down part. So the down part now, I'll be having 2 layers at the down part instead of 3 layers, right? My fabric is not enough. I have to work with the fabric at hand, and what I was able to achieve with the fabric is just 2 layers. The first layer for the down part is flare, right? Then the second layer, it is now gathers, right? And this is it. So I have to fold in this way first. So the edge, I fold it this way, half on half, then sew it round, right? Sew it the second layer, then sew it to the end, then and I gather it. So then I place it on top of the flare, then just top stitch on it, if that makes sense. So this is it now. So looking at it, let me bring it closer. So I just place it on top, then top stitch on it, then the gathers is now up this way, right? So that's what we are seeing on the style. So the gathers is, we are seeing this gathers part showing that it was top stitch on top, right? Then the flare is just our normal scarf cut, the way you saw me place it, right? So then I place it to the upper part, right? So now that's what we have now. So this is it now. So the next thing to do now, I'm going to introduce my velvet bias on this part, on the waistline too. So this is my velvet bias. So I'm just going to place it on it like this. Then I will sew on both sides. So place it from the beginning. So let's say from here like this other zip part, right? Place it like this. So you place it, this is the the sewing of the waistline, right? So you don't place it in the middle like this. So you just place it on this side. That's how I'm going to sew my own. So I'm going to sew on this side, sew on this side until I sew it to the other side, right? After which I'll come to this other layer here, which is the second layer now. So I'll come here like this. So remember this gathers that we have that is flipping up like this. So we are not going to place it to cover it, right? We are not placing it this way to cover it, right? Neither are you placing it at the upper part this way. So you are placing it at the down of it this way. Hope that makes sense. So then you are going to sew with half. You are going to sew on this side very tiny, make sure stitch to be very tiny, then sew it on this side. That's how I'm going to sew it all through the other side. After which I'll place it this way, then fix my zip on this side. After finished sewing the zip at the back, this was the end result. Thank you so much for watching my videos. This really came out so nice. If you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please do well to like and subscribe, and drop your comments on the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. See you in my next one. Bye.